For, 80 years now, the story of Adolf Hitler's death has been this wild mix of rumors and conspiracies. But today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to follow the evidence, from the people who were there to the modern-day forensics, to really pull apart the facts from the fiction.
So the official story, it's pretty straightforward, right? The Red Army is closing in on his Berlin bunker, his 1,000-year Reich is literally just rubble, and Adolf Hitler dies by his own hand. A pretty grim end to a catastrophic chapter in history.
But then there's this other story. And man, this one has legs. This version says the whole suicide in the bunker was a fake-out, a final act of misdirection. In this story, Hitler slips right through the Allied net, hops on a U-boat, and lives out his days in sunny South America.
So you gotta wonder, where did this crazy escape story even come from? I mean, it didn't just pop up out of thin air. Turns out, it was planted. And you won't believe by who.
Get this. July 1945, Berlin has fallen, and Joseph Stalin, just casually mentions to an American official that he thinks Hitler got away. His own troops found the bunker. So why? Why would he say that?
Yeah, this was no accident. It was a total power move. Think about it. If Hitler's ghost is still out there, Stalin can sow chaos among his new rivals, he can paint his biggest enemy as a coward, and he has the perfect excuse to keep a tight grip on post-war Germany. It was just brilliant, cold-blooded disinformation. And man, did it work. That little seed of doubt he planted, it just exploded. For years, the FBI was chasing down all these tips. Oh, he was spotted here in Colombia. No, over there in Brazil. And even now, you've got this whole industry of books and TV shows still asking that one big, juicy question: what if?
And the most popular version of the story is like something out of a movie, right? A secret U-boat, a midnight escape to Patagonia, living out his days in the Andes. It's an incredible story. But the second you look at what was actually happening in that Berlin bunker, the whole thing just crumbles.
Okay, so let's leave the wild stories of South America for a second. To get to the truth, we need to go right back to that bunker. We're talking about the final, claustrophobic days of April 1945.
Everyone who was actually there, inside that bunker, their stories are terrifyingly consistent. They don't talk about some grand escape plan. No. They talk about this grim, step-by-step process. The quiet goodbyes, the desperate attempt to burn the bodies with gasoline while bombs are falling all around them. Every single witness describes the exact same awful series of events.
And the details they gave, they're so specific. Hitler's adjutant saw the gunshot wound plain as day. His valet, Heinz Linge, he noticed two distinct smells. Gunpowder around Hitler, but around Eva Braun, that classic bitter almond smell. You know what that means, cyanide.
Okay, but what about the body double? That's the key to the whole escape theory, right? Well, Hitler's own valet, the guy who dressed him every day, he just shot that idea down completely. When the Soviets interrogated him, he was like, nope, no double. And there's no way anyone could have snuck out of that room, only one exit.
All right, so we've got two totally different stories here. On one side, you've got sworn eyewitnesses. On the other, this massive conspiracy theory fueled by the Soviets themselves. So when testimony isn't enough, where do you turn? You turn to science. You follow the physical evidence. And that trail leads us right out of the bunker and into a shell crater in the garden.
So a few days later, Soviet agents, we're talking SMERSH, their counterintelligence unit, they go back to that garden. They start digging around where the bodies were supposed to have been burned. And in all that mud and ash, they find it. The one thing that could survive the fire. The one thing that could tell the real story.
And this is it. This is the key that blew the whole case wide open. It wasn't a skull, it wasn't bones, it was his teeth. A piece of his jawbone and this very unique dental bridge. The Soviets snatched them up, took them back to Moscow, and basically locked them in a vault for decades. One of the biggest secrets of the Cold War.
Fast forward to 2018. A team of French scientists finally gets to see these things. And what they found? It was a slam dunk. First, the dental work itself was a perfect match to Hitler's dental x-rays from 1944. Second, the gunk on the teeth? Only plant fibers. Checks out. He was a vegetarian. And get this, they found bluish stains on the false teeth. That's the chemical signature of cyanide reacting with the metal. The lead scientist, Professor Philippe Charlier, he pretty much said it all. He was like, the teeth are real. There is no doubt. Hitler died in 1945. All the conspiracy theories can stop now.
So, after all this time,
all the speculation, here's the bottom line. Let's put the myth and the reality right next to each other and see how they stack up.
I mean, when you really look at it, the whole escape fantasy just falls to pieces. The secret U-boats they talk about? Yeah, the Allies sank those weeks before. The body double? A complete myth, denied by the people who were right there. The old man living in Patagonia? Nope. He was in a shallow grave in Berlin, and his own teeth prove it. And this is so important to remember. The story of Hitler surviving didn't stick around because there was any real evidence. It stuck around because it was a deliberate, politically motivated lie from the very beginning. It's a ghost story, sure, but one that was created for a very specific, very cynical purpose.
So that leaves us with one last kind of fascinating question, right? Even when we have all this forensic proof, why do we still kind of like the escape story? Maybe it's because the real ending, a pathetic suicide in a concrete bunker, just feels, I don't know, too small? It makes you wonder what we want from history. Do we want the messy, hard facts, or do we just prefer a good story?